my social media person is doing it for me.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, it looks like we are live. So guys, for those of you joining us, we are starting watch parties and I encourage you to do the same. So just going to the NG Enterprises social media Facebook site, although it looks like we are frozen at the moment. Hopefully we will come on soon.
Everybody in the world is using Zoom now.
I know. Don't they know that we want to be on here? We're so important. Well, hopefully this will at least record and we will come on. It does look like we are frozen for the moment. But let me do something real quick, just in case.
You are not frozen.
On your Facebook, I'm not.
No.
Then maybe it's just on my end,
No,
guys.
not on Facebook. I mean, on the screen, you are not frozen.
Yes, but this is through Zoom. So quickly, just to be safe, in case this does not go through, we are going to record. So
You
that
are not frozen.
it can always come through. Okay, perfect. Right, Julie says we are good.
No, not on Facebook. I mean on the screen.
Okay, so we need to mute. Indrani, I don't know if it's you or Likky, if it's you.
There we go. How's that?
Perfect. But Indrani, you can't fully mute because we have to have this interview. It's whoever had the background going.
There is a reverberation because when I said something to you, it came a few seconds later.
I think we're good now, though.
Okay.
Hi, Facebook friends. So you might be wondering, where is Amber? Where is the lovely Amber Vilhauer? Well, our wonderful host for the Elevate series, she is an online business owner as well. And she is being grounded and nimble and flexible. So she had her AuthorUp live program that normally it's a live event. It's part of what we're going to be talking about on this panel. And they couldn't do it live, of course, so they pivoted, and she is doing that virtually for the next 2 days. But she did not let that stop her from putting together the Elevate series because it's so important. This is 2 weeks, which I think has now become 3 weeks of live streams with leaders from across the country and across the world to address personally and professionally, you know, your mindset and your business, to let you hear how we are looking at things, how some people are still calm and reasonable while others are panicking. And so I love that Amber put this together, even though she knew she was just going to have to make it work. And I think that's a lesson we can all learn right now. And so she has asked me to step in today and tomorrow to lead these interviews. So I am Heather Hubbard, and I am honored to be stepping in Amber's shoes. So today we have with us, I have to say, this is a bit of a heroic public speaking party, because even though I just found out Likky and Indrani, they had never met before, but I know them both through what we love to call HPS. Shout out to Michael and Amy Port. So we have Likky Lavji, and we also have Indrani Goradia, and they are also speakers. We all go through this program together. We are all professional speakers. And we wanted to come on and have a conversation today around what does it look like to be a speaker, to hold events, to do workshops where we can't be in person anymore, and just to talk about what's going on. So first and foremost, Likky and Indrani, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having us. I really appreciate it.
It's wonderful to be here.
Yeah, before we begin, I want everyone to know a little bit more about you guys. So Indrani, would you like to provide like just a quick intro as to who you are and what you do?
Yes, I am from Trinidad in the West Indies. I came to my new home in 1974. I have devoted my life to speaking up about domestic violence, and I have a foundation. And we go into shelters and we do live classes or not. We are pivoting. We're going to see what's happening.
Yep. And Likky.
Excellent. Well, I'm Likky Lavji, and my business card says blind spot navigator, and on the other side, it actually says BS navigator. I'll leave that to you to figure out what that means. But I go out into organizations and in with coaches to figure out what their blind spots are. And we help them define what they are and help them become the people that they want to become and the organizations that they should be to remove all those obstacles that are in the way.
We're going to have such a good conversation today. I know you both. I love you both. You guys have such great wisdom. Let's start with how you are thinking and feeling and what you're seeing with your clients, your companies, your nonprofit.
Well, I'll go first. Well, actually, you know what? Ladies first, Indrani, how's that?
Heather, this is such a great question. And we are right at the beginning of this. So at our foundation, we drop, not airdrop, trainers and to teach the advocates, the staff, and we teach leadership workshops. And it's so great, this face-to-face, you can see if somebody really gets it, or if somebody's like lagging behind, or if someone just turned on their phone and you can, like make a joke. And now we have to do our mission. It's mission critical. We still have to serve the advocates. So it's mission critical that we continue to ask the advocates, how best would you like to be served? Would you like for us to do smaller groups online than we would do in person? Because in person we might do 25, 30. Would you feel that you might get lost in there? And so if we are serving the customer, I think the customer needs to tell me how best I can serve them. And that's on the foundation side. And on Indrani Goradia, I have this is new, by the way, isn't it great? I love it. Amber Steam made all of that. Really cool. I have to start speaking more to corporate CEOs and COOs and all the C-suite people about when things get back to normal. Please understand that there would have been an uptick in violence because domestic violence has been a pandemic before this virus. So we have virus violence, we have domestic violence, and they're both of them, virus and violence, anyone, anytime, anywhere. So it feels that my words are now even more mission critical. And I thought it was mission critical before.
I want to get back to this. I have more questions for you on this. But let's go to Likky for a moment. And Likky, you share with us what's going on in your world and kind of even how you're feeling about things.
Yeah, it's interesting. Last Thursday, so 2 Thursdays ago, I'm sitting in a facilitation with an organization and working away. And a majority of that time, they were spent dealing with the COVID-19 issues. So they weren't present 100%. But as they weren't present, I was looking at my phone and I'm getting emails and messages. Oh, by the way, your conference is canceled. Your conference is canceled. Your workshops are canceled. Can we delay this? Can we do this? By Friday, all of my engagement for the next 90 days were done.
Yep.
When that's your revenue stream and that's what you get to thrive on, you get a high on helping others. When that shuts off, you go into a space of not knowing what's going to happen. So Saturday, Sunday was a real depressive mood for me, going into a state of what is going to happen. I mean, I sold an incredible, successful IT company to take this on 4 years ago, loving it. And this year was the year of growth. This year I had a goal of impacting 20,000 people in 2020. And that just shut off. Monday morning, I wake up and I said, this is not the way it's going to be. We have to make the shift. We have to step up and change the way things are. Called up 3 people and just offered my help. What do you need to get going today? Where are you at? Just like the question you're asking me. As soon as I started doing that, my mindset shifted into helping and giving. And that was a week ago today. And we've created virtual coffee rooms, virtual workshops. I'm just creating a virtual keynote. Taking a keynote, I mean, you can tell I love loud, I love color, I'm animated on stage. On screen, it's different. Now we're modifying that. We're changing things around. But honestly, the last week has been full of creativity and giving back to people, just reaching out, offering free sessions, working with the speakers, spotlights, speaker hubs, saying, how can I help you? What do you need? And in turn, it's coming back. So it's a mindset shift that we all needed. So I had to find my own BS that was in the way and move it around. Now, speaking about blind spots, right now, trust and vulnerability is more important than anything else. We know that. We need to trust our employees when they're working away from us. We need to trust our customers when they're not here. We need to be vulnerable, feel what they're going through, because people are all in the same spot. Conversation yesterday was incredible. It was a big light for me. Everybody in the world is going through this today. It's not like one portion, one continent is dealing with it. Every single human being in the world is going through this. So let's just be open and vulnerable with them.
We're all so connected right now. And yes, in a way that we have never, I don't think, experienced, at least in our lifetimes. So I really want to talk about this concept of not just the mindset shift, but you both kind of mentioned it, which is with companies, right? So same with us. So many of our workshops and our programs, like everything kind of got upended, whether I'm doing it for someone else or I'm hosting it myself. And so, the way that we approached it was, we're not stopping, we're not shutting down, we're simply pivoting. And we went to, so if it was for a company or a firm or something like that, we went in and said, what do you need? What do you need right now? What are your goals around this right now? With your employees, what are your goals with your employees? And most companies want their employees to be healthy and happy and weather this storm as well as possible, right? And so when we then said, well, we can be absolutely flexible, and we've done this virtual before, and we can do this virtual again, as opposed to postponing, why don't we continue to show up and serve? Like, let's work together to come up with something. And you would be shocked how surprised and excited they were to hear that, because most, I think, consultants and speakers were just saying, oh, okay, we'll see you when this passes. Whereas we were saying, let's work together. Like, let's get people what they need right now, and get really creative. And it's been going well. And we've been doing that for clients too. So Indrani, I have a question for you. When you were saying with CEOs waiting, right? Like waiting until this passes. My question is, I suspect, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because I've seen some of your posts, where many people are now having to work from home. They don't have a safe place if their abuser is in the home. So I'm curious, number one, do you think that companies and corporations, if they're concerned about their well-being, right, for their employees, would they want to know now that their employees are at more risk now than ever, and what they can actually do to help, and how to actually get them that information? I'm curious as to why you are not communicating this now to them. Tell me more.
Well, Heather, I am doing some communication on LinkedIn. And maybe this is my blind spot, Likky. Domestic violence is such a taboo, sticky subject with so many nuances. I don't want to turn them off before I turn them on. And what's happening now is that there's so much more violence happening if a person is in an active abuser situation. I have to, and I'm trying to find the balance to give the hope and to give the statistics, to give the hope and to give the statistics. If I only said, blah, here are the statistics, let's talk, there are so many other things on their mind shareholders, bottom line. The easiest thing for them to do is to dismiss me because I wasn't even on the list to begin with. It's a fine balance. It's a dance, and I'm just now learning the steps. And that is honesty to the nth degree.
That's what I love about these conversations. It's why I asked it. I love it. I don't love it, right? Like, I mean, domestic violence is a major issue, but I think it's a really interesting thing to think about, right? Is when do you step in and offer support, and when do you step in and offer help?
I posted something on Facebook, a picture that I embroidered, and it said home sweet home.
Mhm.
I have a sweet home. I didn't grow up in a sweet home. That's why I do the work. And the words above that were, home is not always sweet. And if your home is sweet, please start screaming thank you to your people. And if it's not sweet, can you find a bathroom and lock the door and say thank you to yourself? Because if you are looking at the Facebook post, you are doing something that is allowing you to survive. And that is the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well
I
said.
think so many companies need to hear this right now. Likky, let's go to you.
Okay.
What are you finding from a creative space as to solutions moving forward?
Well, we've been reaching out to existing customers that were looking at doing some workshops with us anyways. And one of the organizations I worked with, we were at the proposal stage. Last Thursday was a presentation day. As I'm presenting virtually over Zoom, first thing she says to me, she goes, Likky, I hate to tell you this, but we have a freeze on contracts. I go, that's okay. Where are you guys at? What do you need? We still need to work on what you guys are doing. How do we help you through this? Because I have a freeze. I go, I'm not asking you for money. What do you need? Let's get the process going. If when the freeze comes out and you guys still have the funds, pay me at that point. Don't worry about it. Let's get your team engaged to do what they need to do. That was one. The other company that I presented to 3 months ago, when I finished the blind spot conversation about trust and vulnerability, their feedback was, we're not ready for this conversation right now. The conversation was around building remote workplaces. So theirs was, we're not ready for this right now. And I go, okay, I get it. A majority of the leadership was over 55. I get it. I've been emailing them articles on how to build trust immediately, how to work immediately. Now I'm getting conversations back again. Now they need it. So the point here is, it's not about us anymore. It's not about what we need to get on stage. It's about what the organizations need, what the people need. Just reach out to them and just help them through this process.
Yeah.
We all need it. We help. I get calls on a daily basis from people trying to help me. And I love it because we need it as well.
Absolutely.
So we're on this little island, but we have this community of HPSers and we're able to communicate and talk to each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot of organizations that don't have that and they don't know how to move forward. They're in a freeze. It's our job to go and guide them. We're the experts, right?
Right. And I think this goes hand in hand with what Indrani was just talking about, right? The timing. And it's true, right? Depending on a company and where they are, they may not be focused on what you can help them with right in that moment. But it doesn't mean they don't need your help, right? So I love that concept of just showing up and serving. How can we serve? That's actually been a theme, I think, in a lot of what Amber has even been talking about over the past week. And for those of you watching, when you think about your own service, one is these live streams are really intended to help everyone. So one thing that you can do to help is you can start a watch party. Amber also has the little icon where you can put that on your, I'm probably saying that wrong. Maybe it's a badge where you can put that on your Facebook page. If you are interested in speaking, she has some opportunities. So you can reach out to her. I think maybe Julie will put something in the comments. And then we're also asking if you have cash and can donate to a COVID relief fund. And I think Julie has put some in the comments. please consider doing that. And if you don't have the finances, there are still ways to show up and serve and give. And so I love what you just mentioned, Likky. Indrani, do you have some ideas or creative ways or things you're doing now to just show up and serve and be there for others in this time?
Yeah, Heather, I have been doing a lot more Facebook Lives. My work is, I'm a nonprofit, so everything I do is free anyway. So this feels like just more of the same. And I have been, and what I did a few days ago is I asked a very specific question, and it was something like this: let's help our friends understand why it's hard for victims to leave. Will you help me? And the thread went wild. And so I am using those words, just copying and pasting and saying, this is the reality. And so this is how I'm serving. I'm taking the word from this person who is thriving and putting it right at the top of the page. And I'm not calling them out. They have called themselves out. Somebody could go digging if they want. But there their words are, and their experiences are golden. And when people read that, two things will happen. Wow, that was my experience. I haven't left yet. Maybe I should ask some more questions. Oh my gosh, I know somebody going through that. Maybe I'll ask some questions. And so it's the buffet of awareness. And different people, if I say, Amber, do you want cake? There's so many kinds of cake, right? You're going to say, what kind of cake? This is like cake. Different words are different kinds of cake. And even though we're saying the same thing, you are going to hear a certain phrasing differently than another phrasing. And that's going to tip you over into action and into activity. And that's also what I was going to say hoping, but I'm not going to say hoping. What I know will happen on LinkedIn with people reaching out. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you guys doing for self-care right now?
Let me go first.
Yeah.
I am a quilter, and I started quilting when my 30-year-old was born. And quilting has kept me steady throughout my entire life. So for the past 3 days, I have been holed up in my quilt studio, just creating. It is the best form of meditation for me. And I have a gratitude journal at the end of every night. I write 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for. And I really, Amber, if people only adopt one more thing, I wish it would be that in the year of COVID, you started a gratitude journal, and 20 years later, you're still doing it. And then you could look back and see what you were grateful for when things were so stressful.
I love that. I think, okay, and Likky, I'm coming to you, but I think for those of you watching, I would love to see you post what you're grateful for. I can't see it at the moment. Maybe it'll come up here. But I'm curious. Now I can't hear it. Okay, I can't do both at the same time. But put in the comments, whether you're watching it live or you watch the replay, what you're grateful for, because I think saying anything aloud or typing it in solidifies it. So I think the three of us should share something that we're grateful for right now.
Okay. Since I talked about the gratitude journal, I have been waking up every morning and sitting with my feet on the floor and doing 10 minutes of breathing. Just breathing. I'm not calling it meditation, just breathing. Then I get up and I start my day, because there is nothing that I need to be rushing for. In the past, I would get up and I don't know, something in my head made me think, oh, I have to go to this meeting on time. There was no meeting. I was rushing just because. So 10 minutes of breathing, intentional breathing. That's what I started about 3 or 4 days ago.
I love it. I think for me, I'm grateful for a lot of things. But I'm really grateful that I have a safe, healthy home, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
have plenty of food. I can afford to go get the food I need. I have a warm home. I can still run my business from my home. In this moment today, COVID's not actually impacted me, right? And so I have a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah, for me,
How about you, Likky?
it's time and family. Um,
Mm,
those are the two things that were really missing for me for the last few months. And the time, the family, the connections that I've built again over Zoom and virtual meetings is really important. So as far as gratitude goes, Indrana, thank you for sharing that. I've been doing that for the last little while as well. Um, and my trigger points are minimum 10. It has to be who, what, and where.
Mm.
Who am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? Where am I grateful for? And once I put that into place, I say minimum 10. Sometimes it ends up being 30. Sometimes it's just 10. It's not how many, it's just how I feel. It just comes out. And the days I don't do it, my day doesn't go that well.
Mm.
I will share one thing with you. I did this a little while ago. I love my coffees. I love my Nespresso pucks, right? My Nespresso cup coffees. And I'm a real connoisseur of coffee. And I sat back and I thought about how many people it took for that pod to end up at my desk for me to have a coffee. I counted over 2,000 people. The supply chain, the farmers, the delivery people, the tasters, the marketing people. That cup of coffee is wonderful every time I have it now.
I love
And it's
that.
back to the basics, right? Back to the basics.
I love that.
This has, this is the shift that we needed, the pivot that we needed to look inside and just slow it down, because the world isn't going anywhere. It's who we were making it go faster, and just slow it down and enjoy the moments. So yeah, that was a good question, Heather. Thank you.
Well, it sounds like we're all in agreement. It's just about being present and
Yeah.
being connected and
Being
appreciating
authentic.
what you have.
We cannot be authentic if we're not present. I can't say to you, oh, Likky, I'm listening. Yeah, what? I am not there. My physical body may be in the chair. You could see my face on the screen, but I left the room. And it's bad enough that we leave the room, but sometimes we leave the building, right? And if someone yells at us, we're just not available. And it is my hope that we relearn how to be available, because there is sweetness in that. And that's a learning curve that we're all going to have to be on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. I saw a post on Facebook that said before coronavirus, and it showed everyone in their homes watching Netflix and on their phones. And then it says during coronavirus, everybody wants to go outside and be connected. And it's interesting, right? Because sometimes it's actually helpful for us to see our BS, if I'm saying that in the right way,
Oh,
Likky,
you are.
right? That, sometimes we don't see what we actually want and what's right in front of us that we appreciate, because we just get in these patterns and these routines.
Heather, let me slip something in here. I flew home last week from Newark to Texas. I made it, and there was nobody in the TSA line. And I know that in the TSA lines in the past, they have complained about people. So I walked up and I said to the guy, "Thank you for being here. Will you ever complain about long lines again?" And he said, "No, ma'am." Because the day goes faster when we have work to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about, because with HPS, since we have our theme here, um, our goal is to change the world one speech at a time. And so I think all three of us would probably agree we all three still very much want to change the world.
Mhm.
Our speeches might just look different. So for those watching that also feel very heart-centered, very mission-based, do you have any recommendations, any thoughts for people on how they can share, whether it is optimism, whether it is positivity, whether it is a message that they care about? What's the best way for people to still impact, right, and make a difference in the world when you maybe feel like you are stuck and isolated and no one can really hear or see you right now?
Okay, Likky, I feel like I'm jumping in here all the time, but
Ladies first.
Heather, whether or not we are with 2,000 people or with one person in the room, we are still us. We still have our values. We still know what song makes us, you have to get up and dance. We still know which memories just light us up. We still know who we are. And if we think that we only knew who we were because we were out there and people were reflecting that to us, that's not true. We were showing those things to people so that they could reflect it to us. And so here is something that I love to tell my clients to do. Think of 2 or 3 people, 2 or 3 friends that they would tell you the truth no matter what. And then ask them this question: what do you love about me? And say, that's it. You can do bullet points, you can do paragraphs, just what you love. You get those things and you look at yourself and think, I'm this. And then turn around and share that to as many people as you can.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's funny. I start my keynote by saying, I asked my inner circle, what do you think of me when I show up in the room? And the answer was, Likky, you're a pompous ass. So I like your way better. But there's a meme going around right now and saying, if you can't go outside, look inside. And to help others, you got to help yourself first. That conversation around self-care, start there first, and then reach out to the people that you want to talk to. And I really recommend get them to go out of their comfort zones, because they're all comfortable. We're all comfortable right now, worried about what could be, what's possible out there. But motivate them, inspire them to get out of their comfort zone and share any kind of message that they want. People have a lot to share. They have a lot to talk about. They're just afraid. They don't know how. But if they just talk, just do it. Just like this. We're just sitting here. This wasn't rehearsed. This wasn't talked about. We're just talking. So we're doing virtual coffee machines. We're doing virtual coffee meetings every couple of days, doing cocktail hours every couple of days. We did a family chat last night on Zoom, getting people just to talk. We've lost that touch. When we were able to talk, we were emailing people. And now that we have to email and talk to people, we're not doing it. It makes no sense. So let's just break out of our comfort zones and just inspire people to really share. People have a lot to give.
Absolutely.
And we want them to remember that. We want people to remember who they are.
Yeah.
So I think we've all mentioned, so Indrani, I know you mentioned you're doing more Facebook Lives. I'm doing a Facebook Live every morning at 9 a.m. And I know a lot of the people who are watching right now, they are business owners. And Likky, I don't know if you're doing more Facebook Lives or not, but I know you go live, right? Like you get out there and you share your message. I'm doing these 9 a.m. coffee chats, and it's literally, I'm just chatting, I'm just sharing. But my message, that I've been working on at HPS, it's about simple courage.
Yeah.
And it is about facing your fears. And it's about false courage and true courage, and staying true to yourself, even when the others aren't following. And that's really the approach I've been taking every morning when I get up. Oh no, we lost Indrani. Hopefully she's coming back.
She'll be back.
Let's let her in. I see her. Welcome back. We missed you.
It went dark, and I don't know if you heard me say, "Oh no." I'm glad I did first.
You didn't, but we're glad you're back. But so I've just been showing up and sharing because there's so much, I'm sensing there's so much fear and so much panic and so much where people, so for me, it's like my message is still the same. It's not going to be, as Likky said, right? I'm very performative. It's very, there's a lot going on when I'm giving that keynote. But just because I'm not standing on a stage giving the full performance doesn't mean that I can't show up and share Facebook posts or Facebook lives each and every day, helping people tap into what does courage look like. And I think everyone can do that, right? If you have a message to share, you can show up and share it. There's so many different ways to share our missions.
If you think about the path that you have taken and all the people along the way who helped you, and you think about the people behind you looking at you thinking, oh, I wonder how she did that. Those are the people you need to talk to. Those are the people you need to say, hey, I was struggling with ABC, and I tried to do ABC all at the same time, but B fell off and I only did A and C. But guess what? The next year I picked up B. Then people know, okay, if they bite off too much, they spit out something and keep chewing the rest. And it's okay. And if you have people in your life saying you're too slow, take them off your feed, take them out of your life. You don't need them. Really, we don't need them. Aren't we our own worst enemy inside our heads? I don't need anybody to tell me I'm stupid. I tell myself that, 100 times a day. So if somebody is pointing out to me that I'm stupid, thanks.
Those people that are calling you stupid, send them my way. I'll find their BS and then put them straight.
Thank you.
Happy to do that. On that note, we talk about showing up and giving people hope. And honestly, people look at me and say, you're a high school dropout. What are you doing this? How do you talk about blind spots and trust and vulnerability? And say, well, look behind me. It's reading. I didn't go to high school or university. I get it. But I've showed up and I've committed to learning over the years and putting what I've learned into practice. And eliminating a lifelong stutter that I had through an exercise showed that limiting beliefs and the blind spots actually cause a problem for people. If people can just show up and be vulnerable, what their blind spots are and what they're going through, we can just guide them to create a new life for themselves and create that hope that they have. But they just have to open up and show up. So right now, it's a perfect opportunity for all of us just to allow people to talk. Because you know what? People aren't getting out there and talking to others. It's our job now to go out and reach out to them. Yeah. And we're doing that. I mean, my calendar is jam-packed with Zoom meetings. It's just incredible. I mean, I'm an extrovert. I love going out and meeting people. I need to be in front of people. So Zoom is the next best thing right now. So
we have about 4 minutes left. So any last thoughts, any words of wisdom or hope that you would like to share with others as parting words?
Ladies first. If you can hear my voice, you are enough. You are enough. Perhaps you can repeat, I am enough. Perhaps you can make it into a song, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, I am enough. Whatever you have to do to make it a mantra, use this time to do that, because when it's time to go back out in the real world, you're going to show up with so much enoughness. People are going to say, what happened? You want that.
Yeah.
I felt that. I took that in, Indrani.
Yeah.
Good.
I heard your voice. Thank you. I'm going to lean towards our fellow speakers, our people that are trying to make a living at this time, and every single human being out there that is a leader. To me, a leader is everyone. This is the time to forget about the pity parties, forget about what's not working, and inspire people next to you, guide them along, and be there for them. One of the things I've been talking to all of my clients about is start the morning as leaders, start the morning and check in with people, not about what they're doing, check in on how they are, how do they sleep, what do they need? And at the end of the day, I'm asking them to create a Loom video to their entire team and just to say, listen, the day is over. This is what I struggled with today. If you struggle with this, here's my cell number, call me tonight. If you need food delivered, let me know. As a leader, it's your responsibility to show up properly now. And for us speakers, just give. We're incredible at doing that. Keep on giving and having fun.
I love it. And thank you guys for giving. Thank you all for showing up. Really appreciate it. We're about out of time, but for those of you watching, we're literally going to be back in 15 minutes with 2 more speakers. But it has been it's such an honor that I get to fill in for Amber on a panel with 2 people that I deeply admire. And since we're talking about what we love, Indrani, I will tell you, I love your hugs, although I don't think you're allowed to be giving a ton of hugs right now to a lot of people. And I love your spark and your spunk. And I love your commitment to stopping and stopping, honestly, domestic violence. And Likky, I love your playfulness and I love your generosity and I love I think it's your vulnerability. I always feel safe when I am with you. And I think because you show up first and foremost in that vulnerable place. And so I love that I got to spend time with both of you today. And for everyone who joined us, we hope that we have provided you some hope, some inspiration, some real talk, and go out there. And as HPS would say, change the world, even if it's not one speech at a time, it's one thought, one intention, each word that's spoken as you go about.
One smile at a time.
One smile at a time. I love it. All right. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you again in about 15 minutes.
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks.
Bye, Indrana.
Bye, Likky.